Good evening. It has been ages since I've put a beer review up. Don't know why, really. I not lost my mojo with it. Just couldn't think of anything to say about any beers, I guess. But I've got one tonight that genuinely interests me because I think it could go one way or the other. It's from Aldi, and their kind of real ales and beers are not great when they produce them for themselves. You know, if they get stuff in that we already know about, then they can be okay. But Aldi's own beers tend to be awful. But this one, it's been made by Shepherd Neame, and it's Kentish Pale Ale, coming in at 4.3%. Now, I've chilled this down really cold. It was about £1.50 a bottle, I think. I'm taking my benchmark, i.e. how good I want this beer to be, from Hobgoblin's Golden Ale, because as far as budget beers go, British style budget beers go, Hobgoblin Golden Ale is consistent, is steady. It's around about a 6 out of 10. Really nice stuff. Above average, but not going to blow your socks off. Maybe 6.5 out of 10. So I'm hoping that this is as good as Hobgoblin, because it's a similar price, and as it's been produced by Shepherd's Neame and is specially selected, and it's 4.3%, which is similar in terms of ABV, i.e. strength. You know, there's really no reason why it can't be a decent budget beer like Hobgoblin. Actually, it smells alright. It does smell really nice. What would you hope from it? Well, bit of maltiness, bit of hoppiness. It's cold because it's been in my fridge. We're in heatwave territory here in Wales, so I've really cooled it right down. Now, so Kentish Pale Ale, 4.3%. It is not as pale as I'd expect. It's it is quite toffee coloured, quite light in colour. Not much of a head. Nicely carbonated though. There's lovely carbonation coming up that glass. Let's stick the nose in and see what that tells us. Kind of a nice little bit of sweetness. I mentioned toffee in colour. There is a little bit of that sweet toffee flavour, which I think is just a hint of malt. It doesn't smell of a great deal, to be honest. But it does smell fresh. I'm not getting a huge amount off it, and the head's dissipated. It looks okay. From that, it smells okay. I hope it tastes okay. Let's give it a whirl. You good health. It's a bit thin. The flavours, i.e. it's malty. There's a little bit of citrusy hop there. And there's a nice bitter end. But it's watery. It's as if someone's given you a beer and you've drunk it after it's had a load of ice cubes dunked in it to cool it down. So yeah, up front, you get kind of malt. Then it just thins out. It becomes a bit, almost like a bit of a shandy taste. And then there is a really nice finish. Look, it ain't bad. It isn't awful. by any stretch. The problem is that they're producing this to be cheap, and so they've really cut back on as many ingredients as they possibly could. I think where it suffers, because it does have a bitter finish, but there's just... whatever malt they've used is either cheap or they haven't used enough. But yeah, on a day like this, it's alright, and if you're on a budget, I suppose you could buy it, but to be perfectly honest, if you like Hobgoblin, I'd go for that. That is nicer than this. This is just bang average. It's certainly not dreadful. You know, Aldi have produced much worse than this. Let's see what the bottle tells us. There is, I mean, a few swigs in now, and there's a little bit of honey coming through as well. A little bit of that sweet honey flavour. There's no off flavours in it. There really aren't. It's just what flavour there isn't a lot of it. Specially selected Kentish Pale Ale. A smooth, mid-bodied pale ale. Well, if they're saying mid-bodied, it's not. It's light-bodied. Drink responsibly. Specially produced for Aldi. Contains 1 serving. 500ml bottle, which is good. Good amount of beer. A smooth mid-body pale ale with aromas of spicy English hops and hints of caramel and malt. Yeah, there's definitely, like I said, toffee. Caramel's fair enough. Hints of caramel and malt. Let's be honest here. They've said hints of malt, and there is a hint of malt. It isn't a particularly malty beer. It's not a particularly anything beer. It's just a bog standard, bang average beer. But, you know, you could do a hell of a lot worse. £1.50 a bottle. You know, there are a couple out there, as I've mentioned, where you could do better. Not a lot better, but definitely better. Would I buy it again? Probably not. Would I mind if someone served it to me? Absolutely not. I'd drink it again. I won't go looking for it, though. Let me know what you think. It wouldn't surprise me if, with the weather the way it is, if there were people who really like this. But for me, it's okay. I'm going to go with, out of 100%, it's around about 55. It's slightly above average, is fair enough. The more I've got through it, you know, it is getting a little bit nicer. But yeah, definitely a little bit on the thin side as far. You need it more malt, and that would be lovely, because it does have a nice bit of finish. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. You good health. Cheers.